Hello, this is Eric Miller from God's Point of View, and this is our update of everything we've been up to in the winter of 2024 through 2025. We were able to publish or republish 2 books this past quarter, Ecclesiastes and the Song of Solomon. Since both of these books were written by King Solomon, I thought it might be possible to combine them into a single volume, but both of them together ended up being a bit long, so we've kept them separate. I will say that if you've not looked much into the Song of Solomon before, it has a really incredible message for the church that I think is well worth listening to. We also have just been able to publish Reverend Cripe's commentary on the book of Hosea, which is quite interesting. In this particular book, Reverend Cripe looks into and explains the mystery of Christ in the Old Testament scriptures. It is a great companion to our recently released commentary on Ezekiel. Moving forward, I believe the next task will be editing the 3-volume series on Genesis. This will take some time, but will certainly be well worth it. In Cameroon, some ugly things are going on. At the beginning of the year, the government pledged to shut down all unregistered churches in the country. Currently, the government only recognizes 47 churches in the whole country out of thousands of congregations, and no new registrations have been granted to any church since 2010. This means that nearly every church in the country is meeting and worshiping illegally and is vulnerable to government crackdown. For example, so far this year, about 200 churches in Yaoundé were closed down due to the lack of registration. From what I've been able to read in news reports, many of these churches seem to be Pentecostal and bring attention to themselves due to being extremely noisy. There is also reports of these churches possibly abusing their members. Well, we can understand noisy Pentecostal churches, but in the third world, prosperity preaching or money grifting churches are very common. However, we can say that both of these things are true at once. Yes, some charismatic churches are noisy, and some evil churches may abuse the poor to gain money and influence, but it's also true that nearly every public church in Cameroon is in danger of being shut down by the government due to lack of registration papers the government seems unable or unwilling to hand out. All this while Muslim congregations are given leniency.
In Cameroon, only the head of state can authorize any church to go operational. So for those who are operating without the decree from the head of state, I'm advising them to close down before I get to them. They should start closing before I get to them.
As we mentioned previously, we've sent some money to purchase several different Bibles there, mostly in local tribal languages. We were going to purchase some in the Musgum language to assist an evangelist there, but the store was out of them, and we need to wait until more are printed. We are planning on purchasing more French Bibles from Canada and shipping them in the next quarter. Those are almost $20 a piece, and I think after shipping and whatnot, they come out to about $24 each. And if you'd like to donate to that cause, you can do so through our Tithely account, which is in the info section below. We recently purchased some chairs to be used for a home church there. Even small things like this can make a huge difference sometimes. We also partially paid for a sewing machine for a Christian woman there to use and hopefully help to support her family with. And yes, it is completely manual since there is no electricity there. Our Christmas charity program went extremely well in Pakistan again this year, again with around 600 gifts being given out. Sometimes that might be an article of clothing giving to a child or some money to help a widow pay her bills. But other times it was food and or clothing given to a whole family. So it's difficult to say how many individuals were helped by this, but considering it was just our small ministry funding this, it's really incredible the blessings we were able to distribute with the hard work of our many partners there. They are able to travel to remote villages and find and minister to many of these Christians, sometimes at risk to themselves and their own families. Attacks on Christians are extremely common there, and as I believe I mentioned before, has led to an exodus of any Christians who can afford to leave the country over the last few years. A recent example we have is one of the extraordinarily poor families we assisted over Christmas had their house catch fire recently. The fire scorched the brick walls but consumed their roof and most of what they had inside this tiny home. This absolutely destitute family of 5 feared the fire may have been started by some of their Muslim neighbors. We and some of our partners in Pakistan were able to help with food and other assistance to help them in this very difficult time. I wish I could show you pictures of this family, as it is incredibly sad, but due to safety concerns, I must edit nearly all the media I get from Pakistan. Our ministry is not involved with this case, but we do have people that are working in this general area, and this is a 22-year-old Christian man, Wakwas Masih, and he was stabbed in the neck by his manager at work because he refused to renounce Jesus and convert to Islam. 2 pieces of good news. 1, he did not renounce Jesus, and 2, he is still alive. So you can see that it's just very difficult living there in Pakistan as a Christian, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. So we hope you can pray for him for his continued recovery. What I'm hoping to do in the future is to make a few interview-type videos with people who work in Pakistan, just to ask them a few questions about what it's like to live there as a Christian, etc. I'm working on getting that figured out right now, and we will see how it goes. Thank you for any prayers and donations you've made or continue to make. We greatly appreciate that, as we certainly need both. We also look forward to the return of Jesus, the Lord of all, which will surely be soon.